Hey guys, it's Micah here, and today I'll be telling you about the analog instrument in Ableton Live 9 and 10. Now, analog is an analog model synthesizer that has oscillators, filters, amps, and LFOs. Now, the display in the middle is dependent on which tab is currently active. So as I'm clicking amp 1 now, you can see how the display in the middle changes, and I've got additional controls as well as my envelope parameters. Well, you can see my envelope. I'm feeling a bit embarrassed that my German just came out there. But yeah, not that there's anything wrong with being German. But so let's take the top line. The sound from oscillator 1 runs to filter 1, and then to amp 1, and then to volume. This LFO isn't the last point before the output controls, but the LFO 1 can be, so to speak, plugged in at various different points. So for instance, my LFO can modulate my oscillator pitch, or my filter frequency, and so forth. And my LFO 2 can modulate like my oscillator 2 stuff, my filter 2 things, but my LFO 2 can't modulate any of my oscillator 1 things. So what I'm going to do is, in explaining to you how this instrument works, I'm going to be making a sound or a sound preset that you guys can have. And yeah, so I won't be going onto like every control, like what detuners and what pitch mod is and so forth. I am going to either assume that you know what it is or be willing to have a couple of unknowns during this tutorial. So I'm going to start a timer, and in 10 minutes, yeah, let's do this. So first of all, I just want my oscillator 1 active so that I can hear that and work with that. Kind of, it helps me just to hear what I'm making. You know, if I've got too many sounds at once, it's kind of a bit tricky. Yeah, let's just change the wave shape. I think I like this one. And I think I also want a formant filter. So that would be kind of cycling through vowel sounds like I, U, that kind of vibe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of change my envelope over here so there's a more gradual attack. And then I want to take my filter frequency and modulate that with an LFO so that it's more like ow, you. And I also want a very slow rate. Oh yeah, gee, like, I don't know about you guys, but when I work with synthesizers, the high end really agitates my ears. So I'm just going to drag in an EQ for now and just cut some of the highs and lows, just so that my ears don't like freak out. And we can always get rid of the EQ at the end, or shape it better. But this is purely just a temporary measure because I get like ringing in my ears and stuff. I don't know if you guys do. Do you? It's really irritating and you should really look after your ears. But anyway, okay, back to sound design. Yeah, I like that. Just pan it a bit to the right. I'm going to pan my second oscillator to the left, which is currently off. So I'm just activating the oscillator and the amp and put it down an octave. Just a quick note. If you switch oscillator 2 on but your amp 2 is off, you're not going to hear anything. Your amp needs to be on as well. So my oscillator 2 is also being sent to filter 1. So my filter 2 doesn't even need to be on at this stage. And there is this quick routing or routing, depending on how you say it, option in the general tab where you can decide how to route things. So the O, Fs, and As mean oscillator, filter, and amp. And the little lines in those little icons indicate the signal flow. So there you can see the oscillator goes to the filter, goes to the amp, and all the ones, so the top line is very separate to the bottom line. But you can see here that oscillator 1 and 2 both get routed to filter 1, and then both get routed to filter 2, and then both get routed to the amp. So if you know that's how you want your signal flow to go, you could just enable one of these quick routing options. But, you know, you don't need to use that, you can also just do that manually. At this stage where the filter 2 is on or off, it doesn't matter because it's not how I'm routing my audio. Since I'm sending oscillator 2 to filter 1. Is this too complicated? Sorry, this is a bit of an intermediate tutorial. Alright, now let's play around with the resonance. I want to modulate that as well. I quite like that effect of the negative LFO on the resonance and the positive LFO on the frequency. Now, under loop, you can choose different modes of having your envelope loop, and I like the sound of the ADRR. So I think I'm actually happy with the sound for now. And what I want to do is I want to put this in an instrument rack and create like a more beefed up preset, I suppose, because I want to add some delay to it. So to do that, you just need to go to your instrument and pull in an instrument rack or an empty instrument rack. Now the problem is if I pull the empty instrument rack in now, it's just going to delete my analog. So also by default, this instrument rack has like impulse, saturated, reverb, so just delete those devices if you don't need them. Don't worry about all the controls that say kick, snare. Those are also just default names. There are no kicks. I'll show you how to change that shortly. So what you should do is initially like have dragged it in from the start, or drag it into a new track and then copy your synthesizer and then go to the new track and paste it in. And I'm just going to call it MW Analog. I'll be sending this out to my subscribers, and you're welcome to subscribe. The mailing list details are down below. And yeah, let's add some echo. So echo is the new delay effect in Ableton Live 10, and I do understand that not everyone's going to have echo, so I'm going to also make a version with another delay. Let's see which one I choose. And for a full tutorial on echo, you can also check out the tutorial in the iCard over here. So first of all, I want to add ducking. This will just allow me to hold down my note without the delay sounding before I've stopped pushing my note. So it essentially ducks some of my note. I just prefer it, it makes everything sound less muddy. Just add some wobble and some reverb, and again, to keep things not too muddy, I want a short decay. No, initially I wanted a ping pong delay, but I just don't like the sound of it. So we're just gonna keep it stereo. And that's kind of it. So what I want to do is just route some important parameters to the front here so that you can change the parameters from the front. If you're not sure how to do this, you can check out this tutorial over here. So yeah, so just right click on the parameter. First remember what it's set as. So this is set at 70%. Then right click, map to kick. Now my kick is like my dry wet, but I want to change it to 70% because that's how I liked it. And then you hit Command R to rename it, and try not to make typos like me, and you'll go far in life, I can assure you. That's the one thing in life that's held me back, is just making typos. I'm being sarcastic, but still, it's good to pay attention to your spelling. So yeah, what I would do now is just route all the other things to the knob so that I can hide my devices and control everything from this small interface in the front, which I think is quite nice. And what I'm also just going to do is make a version with a different delay so that my Ableton Live 9 viewers can use it. So I'm just going to save this one quickly. I'm going to call it MW Analog 10 and delete echo. I'm just going to pull in a filter delay and just tweak these parameters to taste. So and there you have it. In 10 minutes, created your own instrument and learned a little bit about the analog synthesizer in Ableton Live 9 and 10. I'm going to try something different for the instrument series, just to be a little bit more practical and hands-on, and give you guys some practical music making skills, as well as a demonstration on making presets. Please let me know if this is interesting, or if you prefer the very academic tutorials instead. I'm always keen to improve and make better, more useful videos. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I will see you soon in the next one.